Shay, and you've made it to Friday Fun Live. We've made it through another week, guys. Isn't that fantastic? Oh, these weeks are just blowing by for me here. So glad you guys could join us. We've got some fun things to talk about. But first, let me make sure that I am live. Okay. And let's go ahead and get to the chat because that is my favorite part. Let me make sure. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that the mic was working. Alana, it's so good to see you. Um, and she says, hits the thumbs up button. If you don't mind, that would be fantastic. If not, don't sweat it, no problem. And is it Métis? I'm sure I'm saying that wrong, but bonjour, my French friend. How wonderful. And that you could join us. And Wanda Gordon from Bahama, North Carolina. She says she's praying everyone as well. And thank you for the reminder on that like button. I always forget that. And Love to Craft. It's so good to see your waving hands in there. And Denise, yours too, from Windsor, Ontario, Canada. And Jacqueline LaFridge. Let me go ahead and get this out of the way. Don't need to see that. And Maria from Barcelona, España. Yes, I have a dear, dear, dear friend of mine who was from Barcelona. And yeah, she lives in South Carolina with her family. She married a dear friend of mine, a wonderful, wonderful lady. And I did get to go to Spain one time. It was my first time out of the country when I was in high school, in the high school band. Wonderful trip. First time on an airplane. It was a DC-10. So if that tells you it's been a while ago, it was about 2 weeks before they had a major crash with those planes. So a lot of history there. But enjoyed. I didn't get to Barcelona, but we did spend a lot of time in Madrid and surrounding cities around there. Played in some band festivals. It was really fun. And let me see. We have Jessica from hello from boiling Cleveland, Ohio. Yeah, we had some warm weather yesterday. I was out in the afternoon making up some errand runs, and one of which was taking some books to the post office so that I could get some tracking information for you. And had the top down and didn't think much of it, but it was in the 80s, so we went from like cold to 80s. And I love being out in the sun, but when I got home, I just had another one of those things where my head was not real happy with me. So I had to sit and watch a movie and crochet and drink lots of cold water to recover, which I did. I'm happy to do that again. But I think I'm gonna limit my trips out to maybe early morning and late evening, and stay home during the hot afternoons because I'm getting a little old for this. Um, and we have Mariana from Zeewold, the Netherlands. Wow, I love to hear where everybody's from, whether you're in the U.S. or outside. It's just kind of cool to see what an international craft that we are a part of. And Sandra Harper, she says, good morning, Bonnie, Hannah, and all my Yarny peeps from Southern California. Started the Abigail baby blanket last night. Wish me luck. Yeah, this is what she's talking about. This is one of the newer designs on the site. You guys have seen it before if you're a regular follower. This is the Abigail baby blanket. I do have the link in the video description. This is on the home page of my channel here. So, I mean, the video is completely free. The the price of the written pattern. I know. I don't do free stuff. I'm not real huge into lots and lots of advertisements. So that's one reason. But I figure the cost is about what a cup of coffee and maybe a bagel cost, or actually a little bit less than that. And since that's such a common thing that people experience, I'm not a coffee drinker. Give me my Pepsi Zero, please. But it's not there to break the bank. And if anybody ever, if that's ever a financial hardship, you can contact me and we can work something out. So it's not a big deal. Anyway, yes, Wanda Gordon says international group today. Amen to that. And Brat's mom, it's so good to see you in the chat as always from sunny Southwest Chicago suburbs. And thanks again for the reminder on the thumbs up on the button. Um, yeah, lots of buttons down there. You have to kind of watch. And let me just say one thing for those of you who are ever looking for extra information on any of these patterns or videos. If you look at below the screen, you'll see a little thing that says show more. And if you hit show more, it'll open up extra links of what I'm talking about. If you're on your cell phone, it's a little bit trickier. I think it's a little triangle you have to tap. It took me a while to figure that one out years ago. And of course, once you figure them out and when you update your system with new operating systems and patches and stuff, um, it's probably going to change anyway. So you just have to kind of pay attention to see where all these little gadgets are. But if you just hit the show more at the bottom of the videos, it'll open up a lot of links. It'll have like the video, if it's a pattern, a design, it'll usually have a link for where you can get the pattern or find the pattern. I don't fill that with all the information you need. Usually you have to watch the video, first part of it at least, to understand what you're going to need and so forth. So just a little reminder there. I don't mind answering people's questions on that, but a lot of the questions I answer throughout the week, the information is already there. So I mean, just trying to help you, so you don't have to wait until I see the post and then respond. Because if it's like over a weekend, then you have to wait till Monday. So I'm just saying that to help you guys out. And that goes for every channel on YouTube, not just mine. That's across the board. Oop, just got a lot of things loaded here. Oh, Swati, I was thinking of you earlier, actually about 10 minutes ago. She says, good morning and happy Friday from a drizzly LA. Hope everyone is well. The stole that you and I have been talking about, it's on the blocking mats as I speak. Right before going live, the last 20 minutes before going live, I'm like, do I have time? Don't I have time? Do I have time? So I'm going to take the time. So I went ahead and blocked a brand new mohair design. I could show it to you, but I'd be taking you all through my house, which, by the way, Martha Stewart doesn't live at my house, thank God. I say that in jest, because my house is a workshop. It's not a showroom. So, and people live here. We're real people. But anyway, it is in the middle of my living room floor, and it is from one side to the other, just about of the living room. It is on those blocks, which I love. And when the video comes out, you'll be able to see, because I go into a little bit of detail about that. And if you've never used something called blocking combs, which are all in the other room, you'll want to check the link. I think I have a link for those in this video as well, or I should. But anyway, let me see. Thank you, Hannah. Hannah messaged me. She says, I think Martha Stewart has a cleaning service to keep her house clean. Oh, I'm sure she has a crew to keep her house clean. And I'm sure she has probably a staff of 400 or 500 people to do all her crafts for her too. So I feel totally released, Hannah. Yes, thank you. I do not have a cleaning service. I still prefer to do that myself, although I am open. If somebody has a business nearby and likes to scrub tubs, that's just gotten harder on my hands lately. I'd be open to that, but still haven't done that yet. But anyway, so I was talking about blocking this stole. You'll see it maybe next week. I'll try to show it to you all next week. It's really wet right now. And what I was going to say is, I want to assure you that if you ever have to change colors lots of times with mohair, don't knot the yarn. Just kind of do a little slip knot so that you can kind of pull it out when you're hiding the loose strands. These strands are so much easier to hide within your work than any other yarn I've tried to hide ever. And so that just makes me happy. So if you're fearful that, oh my gosh, I don't want to have to change colors with mohair, it's not a big deal, because there are so many little fibers attached to these strands. They just kind of grab on to everything around them. You will never see them again. So anyway, especially if you block it and you get them wet, it also does something to the yarn on a really on a cellular level, and it kind of helps them to bond. Not It's not quite like felting, but I guess it could be close to felting. So anyway, all that to say, the mohair stole is coming. I haven't forgotten about it. I thought that would be a really great summer release because it's something you can ball up into almost nothing, stick it in a little pouch, or just stick it in your bag, your purse, or whatever you carry in the summertime, so that when you go into that restaurant that has their thermostat set on 45 degrees on a nice sunny day, you can pull that out and wrap it around you. You'll be just warm enough. Believe me, mohair is one of the warmest fibers, warmest animal fibers that I know of. It doesn't look like it's going to be warm because it looks like you can see through it. But do I have anything? No, I don't have anything nearby that's mohair. But wonderful, wonderful. Okay, I'm going to move on. I just got excited when I saw Swati there because I wanted to tell her all about that. Oh, yay. Linda got her prize. Yes, I'm glad that book finally came. And let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, Julie from Louisville, Kentucky. Julie, I just want you to know we are praying for your community, my friend. I'm not going to get into all that happened there. Those of you who know, but just know that we are praying for you guys. I mean that, yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna not make it about that, but just know that we do care, and we do pray. There are quite a few praying people in this chat. Okay, and Swati and Terry Redmond would both like to know if you use blocking wires. Okay, hold on 1 minute. I will show you exactly what I use. Hold on, guys. Whew. Getting more exercise today, going back and forth. Okay, let me just show you. I just want to show you. I talk so much about this. I have 3 packs of these. I probably could use more. They do have these on Amazon, and they have these, at a lot of sites. I think if you look on Amazon, I don't know that they're the cheapest, but this is the grid. I don't know if I told you this has a grid on it. Even if the grid doesn't line up perfectly block by block, it is a huge help regardless. So I use these. Let me take one out. Shoo. So hard to know how to dress in the morning these days. It's cool in the morning, and by noon we're in the mid 70s now. I am not complaining about that either. Okay, see how thick this is? And you can see some holes in this, but it's self-healing, which means you can stick a pin in it, and the material will close in around it when you take it out, so that the holes aren't there forever. And again, the brands have probably changed, but these are my little box of blocking combs. I have 2 boxes of these. So if you're going to ever block anything of substantial size, especially like a throw, I recently blocked a throw that I'm going to show you in a bit, a new one that's coming this summer. And I used definitely two boxes of these. I could even use 3 at times. Okay, so these are the combs, 2 different sizes. There are a lot of these. And this is the other size. And this makes blocking a joy. So much faster. I mean, these kits, also come with these T-pins, okay, which are really helpful if although I cheat and I use these big ones because I don't want these to get lost in my carpet. It does not lead to family unity when that happens. You can just imagine stepping on one of those and having it retracted out of your foot. Or anywhere else, or sitting on them. That would not be fun. But these are easy to find. If you drop them, you can pick them up and they're not going to get lost. They are rust resistant, so they're great. I've had these for a number of years. I will say up front, these are not budget wide. These are not super cheap. But I wished I had bought more. I bought two, then I think I went and bought another one on Amazon. I could probably use one more so that I could block a larger throw. But anyway, so that's, and the other thing I have is just a squirt bottle that I put water in, and just plain water, cold water, and squirt everything down, let it be damp, and let it sit and dry overnight. It just brings definition to mohair like you won't believe. It also works with all other fibers as well. Wool, it's especially good like with throws like this, and you want, or not throws, this is a scarf or a shawl. It's a shawl, but I'm wearing it as a scarf today. I mean, it just really helps, especially if you have, this one doesn't have intricate trim, but if you had a lot of intricate open lace, crochet lace work on the edge, by blocking it, especially if it's made of wool or a natural fiber, the natural fibers block so much better. Oftentimes, maybe acrylic, may not even need it with acrylic, but I did complete acrylic throw, and I actually blocked it, wet blocked it, and it really helped a lot. So anyway, I'm getting behind. Before I go any further, I wanted to just say a word about social media. Something I noticed this week on my Facebook page. I just a gentle reminder to please be careful when you're on Facebook or anywhere on the internet, or even in your email, for goodness sakes, because people are always trying to disguise themselves as somebody else. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. But this particular week, and this has happened from time to time, it really bugs me. I'll get somebody on there on my Facebook page, and it happened on my Sunday post this past week. That's where I try to post an encouraging, just an encouraging, have a restful Sunday kind of a post of, flowers and maybe a Bible verse or something that, just to try to encourage you. And somebody, they have been blocked and banned from my site. Somebody goes on there and basically says, will you be my friend? Will you be my friend? And they do that to every single person on there, hoping that somebody will take the bait. Stay away from that. I mean, we've even seen this in our family where somebody was masking as a friend and even using the same picture of a friend, and it was a total scam. And it was very confusing when that happened, because the person thought it was their friend and just went right for it. So, and Hannah knows what I'm talking about. I just wanted to just encourage you guys, just be extra vigilant. If you see a post by a friend that just doesn't sound like what they normally sound like, or, gee, that person wouldn't say that. Yeah, don't click on it. And please, if you see that on any of my sites, feel free to report it to Facebook immediately. You don't need to ask me, just report it, or anybody's Facebook page or whatever. If you suspect anything has gone awry, definitely report it. So I don't want to spend too much time on that, but again, it's just a good reminder. We live in a world that's, while there's a lot of good in this world, I never want to discount the amazing excellence that is in this world. As Jesus said, we need to be wise as a serpent, yet gentle as a dove. So we still have to be wise as a serpent. And so definitely stay safe. And if you ever see anything where it looks like something has been posted and it's not my voice, that's not usually the stuff I talk about. And I never ask people for money. I will post pictures with links to patterns and videos and whatnot that's related to what I do. But I will never ask you for money. I don't do Bitcoin or any of that. I have had all of these things come onto my channel to try to trap the people that follow me. So just be careful. I try to be on there, a couple times a day, but I don't spend all day monitoring social media. I have a life. I have things to do. I have work to do. So anyway, just a general reminder. I love you guys. Stay safe out there. It's just have to be vigilant on these things. So all right. Well, I've talked way too much about that. We have somebody else that looks like from France saying bonjour. Is it Passy Blonde? Wow, that's an interesting name. That's the first time I've seen you. Welcome to our channel. Hey, Stacy, it's good to see you in the chat. And Sandra, yeah, she's like, hope all is well on this wonderful Friday. Thank you, Archer and Ace. Thank you so much. She says, God, please, your protection about us online and off. Amen to that. Thank you. I'm going to add that $10 for our next donation. Let's see. Let me write it down here. I have to go in and do this right now because I will not remember later. Do it in the moment so I don't have to use brain space for that. Thank you, Terry, so much. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys. I hope we can meet up again in Pittsburgh or some other place between here and Ohio. And let's see. Yeah. And by the way, I'll just tell you real quick. I will be at the Frederick Fiber Fest on April 22nd. That's a Saturday. That's a week from tomorrow. That's at the Frederick Fairgrounds from 9 to 4. I'm going to have books. I'm going to have samples of designs that have been made, and I'm going to have them available for sale. Most of them, it's like a one of a kind, and once they're gone, they're gone. And if I have anything left, I'll show you guys, but I just thought it would be easier just to try to sell what I can without having to box everything up and ship it out. But just want to let you know. And if you're in the area, please stop by. You don't have to buy anything from me. There's no pressure ever on that. But I would love to meet you. If you want to just stop by and say, hey, I would love to do that. I have not done the spring show. I've only done the fall. I'm told that the spring show is a little bit lighter in attendance. But on the other hand, since, everybody's coming out of their homes now following these years of COVID, so it might actually be pretty well attended. So please just come find me. I will be there in one of the barns somewhere. So anyway, let's see. I'm trying to find out where I was here. Oh, Lynn, it's good to see you, Lynn, in the chat. And she's so sweet. And let's see, Hannah, thank you for being there, sweetheart, and helping everybody. And Kelly Ann from Colorado. Kelly Ann, I don't know if you knew, but yarn, I don't know how far you are from Loveland, Colorado, but Interweave Yarn Fest is going on in Loveland, I believe right now. I think it started yesterday, maybe. Today's Friday, yeah, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Anyway, you can check it out. It's right there. I think it's the Sheridan. Anyway, it's probably not the only hotel there in Loveland. So check it out. They have an open market. You don't, even if you didn't sign up for classes, if it's not far for you to drive, they usually have a wonderful yarn market and things. You can just walk around and meet people, and lots of wonderful vendors there. That's where I got my my tabletop Swift from the Oregon woodworker last year. I wonder if he and his wife were there this year, because they were a delight to meet, and I had to bring one of those things home. They were so beautiful. Oh, we have Amanda Maddox. She said, just finished making the Adelaide blanket. Wow, cool. And let's see, Kelly Dye. It's so good to have you in the chat, Kelly. And let's see, Josie. Good morning from sunny Northern Cal. Only attended a few Friday Lives, but I'm loving them thus far. It's my favorite day of the week. Hope everyone is well. Oh, what a sweet comment, Josie. Thank you. It's definitely one of my favorites. And okay, Kelly wants to know, how do you decide your prices for your stuff? That's a hard question, Kelly. I mean, as far as I'm guessing you're referring to the things that you crochet. You have to kind of take into consideration a lot of factors. I mean, it might be more than I can cover here, but basically, you want to try to recover your yarn cost and perhaps some of your own time. And I know there are people who have formulas out there that would take a project, let's say like this scarf, which has significant amount of money invested in the yarn itself, and then the time to crochet. And if you add all that up, like put a minimum wage, just a minimum wage, which is, I think is ridiculous, because I think for a master crafter, we should get a master crafter's wage. But what happens is this project becomes something in the hundreds of dollars. And the only problem with which it's worth in my eyes. I mean, that's why I don't sell my things that I make, because people want to just pay me $100 or less for something that takes $60 to $70 worth of fiber, and maybe 40 or 50 hours of my time, and I don't just do that for $20 or $30. I give my stuff away as special gifts to people, but the problem is the value of what it's really worth versus what people will really pay. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people online, on Etsy, at craft fairs, who don't value their work as much as we might. And so their prices are going to be ridiculously low. And unfortunately, if you're in the marketplace, you have to compete with those people. And this is why I don't do craft shows, because I've had, people selling scarves for $5 and $6. I can't make a scarf for $5 or $6. My hands can't take that kind of abuse for really working for a negative wage. So all that to say is, you figure out what you think it's worth, the value of the yarn, the time that you put into it, and come up with the price. And you can put it out there to see if people will buy. But my experience has been people will not pay what something is really worth, especially if it's made out of finer fibers. So I'm not helping you at all. I'm sorry. But if it's something where you're not trying to make a lot of money, like if it's something made out of like red hard acrylic and you can make them in 20 minutes, it's up to you, whatever you think whatever you think the market will bear for it. I try to stay on the higher side of what the market will bear, because sometimes people will buy something if it's priced higher because they think the quality is better. There's so much psychology involved in that. I will refer you to the Crochetpreneur. Check her out. She's on YouTube, and she answers all of those questions extremely well. Tell her I said, hey. So Crochetpreneur. Just look her up on YouTube. She's where to go on all of those questions. And Kelly Dye wants to know, for your beginning knit classes for crocheters in Pittsburgh, is that for the very basics? I've never attempted knit before, but have wanted to learn. Any special tools I would need to bring? Yes, Kelly. This is for someone who crochets regularly, but who's never knit a stitch. That's exactly what this is for. If you're looking to learn how to knit lace, you're going to be bored, because I don't go anywhere near that. I'm going to teach you how to do a double tail cast on. We're going to learn how to knit, to do the knit stitch, and we're going to learn how to do the purl, and we'll learn how to bind off. All of that in 3 hours or less with 15 new people. It should be fun. But yes, you do need special tools. I don't have any. Do I have some? Yeah, well, let me show you. I've got a set of knitting needles. I don't know if I have the right ones in here. I probably don't. I have 2 sets. Okay. I'll show you. Okay, I do have something right here to show you. Okay, so what I do, I like to teach using something called circular knitting needles, which is basically knitting needles. They're smaller. They fit in your hand, just like a crochet hook. You don't have this real long needle to balance, okay? And then there's a wire in between them. And these are called, well, let me get them. For any reason, they're called circular because they're connected, okay, with the wire. The wire doesn't have to be this long. It can be just 16 inches. But I use wood needles. They feel nice in my hand. They also have a little more grabbiness for the yarn. And this is a large size. I think I requested you have at least a size 13, which is a large needle. And we're going to be using size 6, which is super bulky yarn. And I highly recommend that you get wool instead of acrylic, because wool tends to have a stretch to it that is real helpful. I didn't understand this until I learned to knit, but when you stick the hook in to the stitch, it needs to expand a little bit when you wrap it and then pull it through. And the wool is very much more flexible because it has a little bit more of a spring to it. So if you can, I mean, if you can't afford that, get what you can. But I like to work with thick yarn, big needles. You can see what you're doing, you can feel it, and the work grows much faster than if you're using those little tiny teeny things, which I don't do. So definitely going to need that for the class. When you sign up, that will be listed in the supply list. So all of that is written down. But yeah, I'm excited about getting back to teaching this class. And for those of you who are curious, this is my set of needles. They're all circulars. I have different size wires. I connect them. They just connect up to the wire. And I just prefer this better than the real long. I've never made anything with the long needles. They just feel too awkward to me. So yeah, great question. Oh, thank you, Hannah. Yeah, a lot of Kelly's in the chat today. Thank you, Hannah's just reminding me to try to be specific. So thank you, Hannah, for that. And let's see. And we have Barbara. She says, nice spring day here in Maryland. Yes, it is, Barbara. And Pamela she says, hello, Dr. War from California. Okay. And Wendy, she says, first time here. Well, Wendy, I'm so, Ringgold, what a cool name. So glad you joined us today. I hope you can join us again. And just to let you newcomers know, I don't do demonstrations during this time. This is mostly a show and tell social hour time. So if you want to see demonstrations, though, I've got like 900 and some odd other videos. About a third of those are left-handed videos. So lots and lots of designs, lots of other stuff, should you be looking for something like that. Well, let me go ahead and show you what's coming. You've seen this before. But finally this Monday, I'm going to be releasing the cascading lace stole. Actually, it's a super scarf. I'm sorry, but I made mine to be more of a stole. It's just a little bit shorter than the original directions. I did use some of that self-striping Noro yarn, but it goes. It still worked, even though there was some surface texture. But the original scarf was made with worsted weight yarn and was about 10 feet long. So this is the original scarf, and the written directions are only available through Leisure Arts, through this leaflet, primarily because I don't own the copyright when I signed the contract for this years ago. And most contracts are like this with publishers. You sign away your rights to them. Which was not a problem back then, but from this point forward, I kind of like to keep the rights because that way I can have a little more control over them. But anyway, so I was it was really fun to do. You can make this scarf really in any yarn that you have. You can make it in your Super Saver, which I think is what I used originally. Here's an idea. I picked this up when I was in South Carolina at the Knit and Purl. So shout out to the Knit and Purl there. And, I got some really beautiful yarn. I mean, you could even use like sock weight yarn. That's what this is #1 or sock weight yarn. Of course, the project will be thinner, but it will wear like a normal size scarf rather than a super scarf stole type of scarf. So don't feel, held back because you don't have the exact yarn that I use for these videos. I just like to experiment. And this particular video was was really the first time that I completed anything using Noro yarn. I just really enjoyed the cottony feel. And it also has some silk and other fibers in here. I think it's, I don't remember the name of it, but all that information will be in the video description. Remember, you hit see more on the bottom of the screen there, and it'll open up all that information for you. So that is scheduled to go live on Monday. And I did put the link if you are looking for this leaflet. I think it's like $3.99. It's not expensive at all. And it includes a total of 4 super scarf designs. Yeah, so I did put a link in the video description. And I think they also have these at Amazon. So if you guys are Amazon Prime users, you can get it, shipped free. So there. And Monday, this past week, I released the second in the video series called All About Yarn. And they're not in any particular order, so it really doesn't matter. You don't have to watch all of them. If you want to, that'd be great. But I started this series a couple months ago. And this last one is about all the different sizes of yarn. I try to explain the U.S. Numerical system, like calling, the name of a yarn, like we have the fingering or sock weight yarn. We have that as a number 1 because it's very thin. The yarn that I used for this is a DK weight, which is a number 3. So I do kind of talk a little bit about that and took it a step further. So if you haven't seen that yet, you might want to be interested, because a lot of times people will ask, well, I used the number 4 weight yarn, but mine came out different than yours. Well, depending on the brand of, let's say, even in the category of, I just looked at the category of acrylic weight number 4 yarns. And I got this little microscope where I can take photographs, and I actually using a micrometer to show you the size of some major yarns. Like I included in that Red Heart, Caron, and Lovecrafts, Paint Box yarn, and 1 or 2 others, I think. And showing you the pictures with a micrometer to show how wide these are. And there are some significant differences in these number 4 weight yarns. So you might want to take a look at that so that you can better understand what's going on whenever you work with yarn and are just baffled as to why this doesn't look like that, or vice versa. So yeah, check that out if you get a chance. And let's see, Hannah, Mary has a question. Would the Wool Ease Thick and Quick work for beginners? Yeah, I mean, that's going to be pretty thick yarn, but I think that I would have to check the label. I think that's a number 6. That could probably work for the beginning knit class, if that's what you're asking about. But yeah, I've used the Woolies Thick and Quick. I actually have a rug I'm looking at right there on the floor made from that very yarn. Okay, and Kelly Close has a question about how to store all of their yarn. I actually have a couple of videos on that on my site, Kelly. If you want to take a look at that later, just look, go to my homepage, and there's a little search bar, and you can search for yarn storage. And I made a couple of videos on that. But in a nutshell, I store a lot of my yarn in separate little shoebox plastic containers they have a lid. Let me see. This is just a quickie answer here. Okay, here's one. Okay, here's a project. I just recently wound this up for a new design. So I like to use these, even though they have a container, a top, they're clearly not absolute airtight, which allows them to breathe a little bit. And I'm looking across here, and I like to use these little cedar balls that I put in with my more of the natural fiber yarn. And that helps to just kind of ward off pests that may want to come take up residence there. But I haven't had any trouble with these. But also just like the way they smell when they're with my yarn. And I do keep new yarn separate in separate boxes, because if you bring in even yarn from a good yarn store, it can be, there's always a chance that it could have, it could be infected with moths or carpet beetles or something like that. These are not things that are going to harm you, but they can eat right through a ball of yarn. And so, like the yarn that I got last week from a Goodwill store, which was in superior condition. I did check it as best I could, but I also stored it separately from everything else in their own containers. So whatever, if there is anything in there, it's going to stay in there. It's not going to get out and go anywhere else. So I hope that answers some of your questions, but definitely check out those videos on my site, because I go into a lot of detail on yarn storage. That's a fantastic answer. A really, 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 really good answer. I mean, really good question. Sorry, getting my nouns mixed up. All right, so let me get back to the chat, guys and girls. Oh, thank you, Lynn. She said, gorgeous blouse behind me. Thank you. This sweater, it's a braided cable sweater. Let's see if you can see it a little bit better. That will be coming this summer. I don't have a date on that. I still have to do some writing on it. I have to do some writing and sizing and whatnot, but it is a sweater, for the summer, short sleeve. It's crocheted entirely in the round. I don't like seams. I don't like sewing things together if I can help it. And the yarn I used was very, has wool in it. It's actually a reclaimed yarn. Do I have? No. I reorganized and cleaned up my work area. So my usual piles of stuff have been ordered. So I don't have it really close by to grab, but it's a yarn by Cascade Yarns and it's made of reclaimed wool. So it's a very interesting fiber. But you can make this out of cotton. And my favorite, the Bamboo Pop Sock yarn by Universal Yarns, would be a fantastic yarn substitute for this. Oh yeah, and let me say something too, Kelly. You said you know how everyone managed. Okay. There, I thought I saw something else in your question, but no, I don't want to read anything into it. Yeah, and I will say that I love getting back to yarn storage. I love it when you see these beautiful displays online where all the yarn is out and about and exposed. And I don't do that. I also, you need some light in your room with the yarn. I can't get into all the details, but you don't want your yarn in direct sunlight for obvious reasons. It'll fade. But on the other hand, you don't want to store it in a dark basement, because that's the one place that moths love to breed, is in the booth in the back in a quarter in the dark, as Flip Wilson used to say. Way in the dark where light doesn't get. If there's a place where there's a lot of light, they generally don't like to be around that. And you do need to rotate your stock. You rotate it, the front stuff to the back and the back to the front, just to make sure that things are getting exposed. But I'm getting ahead of myself again. Okay, Terry Redmond would like to know if you've seen some moth-proof yarn. She's seen some in Nova Scotia many years ago, and it turned out very well for her. If I've seen any here in America. That's a great question, Terry. I am learning more and more. Obviously, I'm reading more in depth about that and want to be talking about that in, again, the All About Yarn series, because there's so much to learn and so many details, because all the yarn is very different. I will say that as far as moth-proof yarn, acrylic. Moths will not eat acrylic. Moths and pests basically like animal fibers. They can smell the animal. They like animal fibers. They don't like synthetic, man-made, petroleum-based acrylic. That said, see, this is I can get into the deep waters with this because I've read so much about this recently. There's a lot that can be said, both good and bad, basically, of really for almost every fiber. But there are some fibers now, have special properties just because of the way they're made. Now, I'd have not heard of animal fiber that's moth proof unless there's a way that they've treated it. So, and where it gets tricky is there are, like, even just in the category of acrylic polyester, there are hundreds of different formulas, names of different man-made kind of fibers. And it's just, it gets really, really complex. So I'm going to have to defer that maybe to the videos, or maybe email me and you can help me get some of these questions answered in a video in a more intelligent format instead of trying to guess. But that's a fantastic question, Terry. That's the kind of things that I do want to explore going forward in my yarn series. So, whew, again, forgive me, guys, for being so far behind in the live chat. If I don't get to you, I promise you, I'm not. It's nothing personal. It's just a lack of time. And you just have so many good comments and questions here. And Hannah, thank you for sending me the questions. And we have Sharon 47 from New Brunswick, Canada. Hey Sharon, it's good to see you. It's kind of funny. My husband was just mentioning the other day that was a road trip he wanted to make, was drive up to New Brunswick. It's like, yeah, let's go. And Wanda Gordon, it's good to see you. I guess, thank you for greeting, Hannah. And Mickey Waters from Florida says, hi, y'all from Florida. Well, Mickey, welcome to our chat. Florida was my home state. I miss it. I miss it in so many ways, except not in the heat of the summer. But I miss it when it gets to be like 25 degrees and below here. Boy, do I miss it. And Anna from the UK, it's good to see you in our chat. And Rebecca Detweiler from sunny Florida. Hey, Floridians, welcome here. And Stacy from New York. And is it Fadhila from Bahrain? Wow, that's welcome. That is just so cool. I don't recall ever having many people from Bahrain. That's amazing. That's another place of the world where I would really like to go, to see all those beautiful cities that are built there. And Archer Nace, she says it's a dazzling day in Cleveland. Again, thank you for your kindness to us here. And thank you, Fadhila. She says, I love it so much. And Ruth from Puerto Rico. My goodness. Hola, amigo. Wow. Have some friends from Puerto Rico that we know locally here. And Red Hooked, welcome. We'll take you late, my friend, any way we can get you. And Mojo says, hello from Germany. Simply love your tutorials. Oh, thank you, Mojo. I so appreciate that. And just loved visiting you. And, well, not visiting you personally, but I love visiting your homeland this past year. We flew out of Munich when we were there this last time. So really enjoyed that. Enjoyed driving on your Autobahn. My husband enjoyed driving on the Autobahn. He can't do that quite as fast in the U.S., so he really enjoyed it there. And hey, Beth, it's good to see you in the chat. She says, lovely day here in Ohio. And Mickey says the Jacksonville area here. Wow, okay. I have to tell you a story, Mickey. I don't know if you're of my generation or younger, but I remember a cold winter. This was the second year of me being married and living with my husband in Maryland. And my parents were still living in Hialeah, which is all the way down near Miami in Florida. And it was our turn, my mom and dad's turn to have us for Christmas. And so we flew into Myrtle Beach to South Carolina, and then we were going to borrow one of the family cars there, his Craig's mom's car, and drive down to Hialeah on Christmas Eve so that we can be there by Christmas. And that was 1989 in Myrtle Beach. We had, I'm not kidding, 18 inches of snow on the ground outside. Myrtle Beach, South Carolina had a nor'easter stationed right off the coast, and it just poured and poured. Actually, we drove. We made that. We drove from Boston down to South Carolina. That was the first leg, and then from South Carolina, we're going to drive to Florida, and it was the craziest winter ever. It was my first white Christmas, and my only white Christmas was in South Carolina, in Conway, 1989. And those of you in the South Carolina, you remember this year, I'm sure, especially if you're in the Low Country there. And I'd never seen anything like that. And they don't have any kind of snow removal equipment because you never need it ever. And so about a day after all that snow, I see a road grader going down our road trying to clear some of the snow off. No salt, no sand trucks, none of that stuff. Just wait until it melts. So we made our way on Christmas Day. So that was the day we actually drove on Christmas Day, because in Jacksonville, Florida, I-95 was completely closed down, and that was part of our route. We had to get through Jacksonville to get to Florida, to get down to Hialeah. And all the bridges in Jacksonville were iced over. And so I-95 was shut down on Christmas Eve. So we couldn't travel. Thankfully, it opened up Christmas Day. And so we were able to make that 9-hour drive down, all the way down to Hialeah. And I remember having Christmas lunch at Waffle House. Thank God for Waffle House, boy. Oh, and anyway, I just saw the most romantic movie this past week. It was so sweet. And the big romantic scene takes place outside of a Waffle House. I just thought that was so perfect for some reason. But it was just so relatable, let's just say. Instead of having it be in a castle somewhere, it happened in front of Waffle House. I just thought that's just perfect for the rest of us. So anyway. All right. What else do I have to tell you? Oh, let me go ahead and show you. Okay, I haven't shown this to anybody yet, but I want to show you the throw that is coming probably in June. So this is a little bit early. I'm on the early side. This is only April. And this is very big, so I can't unfold the entire thing. It's very big. You guys have all, I listened. You said we want bigger throws. Okay, this is a bigger throw. Okay, and this is the gist of it. This is very large. It is 4 squares across, 5 squares deep. You can do the math. Each square is approximately 13 by 13. And like I was telling you, it has a very simple, but I really like the way this came out with this border. The border had to be blocked. The border looks amazing when it's blocked. When it's not blocked, it's a curly mess. So just telling you, you're going to need to block this. But this is very large. Let me tell you, if you want to make this, I'll tell you what I used so you can be on the lookout for sales. I used Lovecrafts. Do I have any with me? Yes, I do. Hold on a second. Ugh. Okay. I just dumped a bunch of yarn on the floor. Okay, that's the wrong one. All right, let's try this again. Just drop more yarn on the floor. Okay. This is the yarn I use. Of course, you can use any yarn you want, but this is really good acrylic yarn if you're into acrylic. I don't use anything else when it comes to my throws because you can wash and you can dry it too, but I like to wash it and then let it air dry. But I use 13 of each color. And sometimes they have this available for a discounted price in packs of 10. So, I got a couple of packs of 10, and then you can order extras if you want. That's one idea. If you want the summery look, if you want, you can just use leftover yarn in your stash. If you want, you can make this a solid color. In the event that you make it a solid color, you're going to need 26 of that color. So if you all keep an eye out with the Love Crafts, if you've ever ordered from them online, they have really, really, really good sales, like 30% off, 40% off. And a lot of times if you get over, a certain price, they will ship it for free. So you're really not, spending extra like, you would. And I generally, encourage you to shop locally, but when it comes to buying a large number of balls of yarn of the same dye lot locally, you almost always have to order it. So anyway, Hannah's sending me. Oh, thank you, Hannah, for that question. So, and Chris Jansen just asked, what is your favorite yarn? Ah, all of them. That is a hard question to answer because it really depends on what I'm making. I have a lot of different favorite yarns. So yeah, but as far as acrylic goes, I think I like this one a lot, paint box yarn. I think for the price, it's probably the best for the price. I also like Universal Yarns. What's it called? Hold on. I can never remember this. This Uptown Worsted is also really nice yarn. I mean, if you're on a budget, definitely the paint box yarn is probably your best bet. Now you may be able to find some local, sales on, Red Heart or Caron or whatever. I mean, any of those will work for this. And if you're outside the U.S., whatever you can find locally that is the same, kind of thickness. Or if you want a smaller size blanket, you just make fewer squares. If you don't want it to be as big, 59 by 73 or something like that. I think that's about the ballpark. I forget exactly. But you can make it any size you want. You can just make it 12 squares and make a lap blanket. You can make it 6 squares and make it a baby blanket. If you make it using thinner yarn. So you really, it's really up to you. You can do whatever you want. Make it every square a different color. Make them all the same. You're the boss. So you can do whatever you want. So be looking for this. I'll have the video released in June. I'm going to try to get that up sooner for my watch channel. And for those of you who aren't familiar with the watch channel, it's where you can watch my best content. There's also exclusive content on that channel. It's a paid subscriber at $6.95 a month or $69.50 for a year, which is a little bit of a savings. But there are many videos there. Actually, like I said, more original content there, exclusive content, and a lot of complementary patterns to go with a lot of the designs. Not all the designs, but most of the designs there have a video. I'm sorry, I'm distracted by what's going on outside of my neighborhood here. A PDF that you can download, and that's kind of to say thank you for your support. Of course, if I don't own the copyright, like with this design that I showed you, I don't own the copyright to that. It's an older design. So I can't offer that. Now for the watch channel, I lost track of where the correspondence was, but someone contacted me wanting to add the summer cabled poncho to the watch channel. That has been added to the watch channel with a complimentary pattern as well. So I'm trying to think of you guys, want you to be blessed. And for those of you looking for a summer poncho, those videos are on my channel, and and the pattern is available in my Lovecraft store right now. So, oh, Lynn Geider wants to see this throw again. Okay, Lynn. Ah, this is the throw. It's, again, 4 squares wide, 5 squares long. And I'm calling this love cables because I didn't explain this. If you look at this, it looks, I intended it to be kind of a heart on each end. So on each end you have kind of the cable that forms a heart. So this is cable love throw. All right. I'm glad you asked me that, Lynn. Thank you for sending that to me, Hannah, because I was not being clear. Oh, Terry's, she's got physical therapy. Oh my goodness, Terry, I hope that works well. I got so distracted with the story about Jacksonville. Sorry about that, guys. Let me just see. Ah, and Izzy, so glad that you're in a chat. I haven't seen you here before. She says, since Great Britain left the EU, I still have to find a substitute to paint box yarn. Yeah, I hope you can find something. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you over there, but that's one of my go-tos. Okay, and she wants to know how much is in the skeins. Where did I put the yarn? I don't know what I'm doing. Hold on, I just tossed it back over. Okay, I knew how much was in here. I just wanted to confirm. 201 yards. 201 yards. So 2 times 13, that's what, 2,600. So you're going to need about 5,200 yards if you make this throw as large as the one I've made. But, you know, again, you can make it as large or as small as you want. And we have Grace. She says, wow, that's amazing. One more project I need to make. I hope that answers your question, Kelly. So it's just over 5,000 yards. It's a lot. But it's going to be a nice blanket, and it would, I don't know that I'd say it would cover a twin bed, but I think it could easily, you know. I have one about this size that I use on my king bed for, doesn't cover the entire bed, of course, but that it keeps my husband and me warm enough. Mickey says, drooling here for those stitches and colors. Yes. All right. Again, if I missed your comment, guys, I am so sorry. Oh, we have Ola Joe. It's good to have you in our chat again. And let me just see if there's anybody else I might have missed. Yeah, and Izzy talking about the yarn says, I made an order at Hobie, but the colors are few and different. I bought the pattern of your colorful cables throw. I love that. I love those colors too. And it was interesting, Izzy, is when I came out with that throw, that was just before all of the shortages started happening with COVID back in 2020. It was the darndest time to release anything because, you know, people would fall, you know, people would like it, but they're like, I can't get the yarn. And yeah, it was kind of a pain. I think we're past that. So that's good. Yeah, thank you, Hannah. Yeah, thank you, Hannah, for those questions. I think I did cover those. Yeah, and I tried working with that other company, and it was not a good experience for me. So that's one reason why I don't really do much with their yarn too. It was not a good experience. So anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. Is Beach Girl in the chat? I must have missed that. Oh yeah, Beach Girl. Ah, good to have you back. And okay. And Mickey wants to know, is the paint box the worsted wool blend? No, I'm just this is just 100% acrylic. But you can try the other. I mean, you can, you can, they have other options with the worsted weight. I have not tried the wool one yet. I probably should. I just haven't because I know that that's added expense. And usually, folks, when you, when I'm doing something that takes 4 to 5,000 yards worth of material just to bump up to the wool would just kill your yarn budget. So I'm just trying to be, kind of be frugal minded with that because I would be. I mean, I kind of think, well, would I pay this much for this or that? And I'm like, no. So I'm not going to expect somebody else to do the same. But definitely try it if that is your preference. I know people have various opinions on acrylic yarn, and everybody's entitled to their opinion, and that's fine. I learned to crochet with acrylic yarn. I will probably die with many acrylic blankets, which have blessed my family and have been in service for many years. So I'm a fan. Love it or love it or hate it. I'm a fan. I like all these. I like a lot of other fibers too, obviously, but yeah, it's a very utilitarian fiber. It has made crochet affordable and available to many people who otherwise would not be able to participate. Um, oh, we have Diane from St. Louis, Missouri. Well, thank you for your comment on the throw. Um, oh, thank you, Anna. She said your live is very cozy to watch when tired early Friday evening, Swedish time. Oh, that's so sweet. I'm trying to wind down here, Hannah, so don't worry. Yep, and Kelly says I love acrylic, works for me. Yeah, yep. There are some questions about manufacture of it and so forth, um, but I think a lot of companies are doing things responsibly, but I'm not going to worry too much about that. Yeah, Mickey says too hot for Florida. Well, Mickey, yeah, you got that right. As far as Florida, it was kind of funny though. I grew up, I learned how to crochet, work living in Florida as a child, and I did make a lot of acrylic things, but they were like shawls, and I made a sweater which I never wore because it was way too hot. But things that you could carry and take off, like shawls and things like that, ponchos, I did make and wear because, as you know, even though it's hot down there, you go indoors and it's like the Arctic, and just that transition from hot to cold constantly. I needed to have something to wear, and in fact, I have a shawl that I'm going to show you guys at some point. I'm going to do a special video on it. It's a shawl that I made for my mom, and she would wear it to the grocery store for the freezer section every single week. And I'd like to. It's not my original pattern, but what I want to do is I want to modify it into kind of a more modern version of it. But it's something that I have in my mind to do at some point. But living in Florida, yeah, I understand you don't want to wear acrylic sweaters. Obviously, lots of cotton would probably be good, but yeah, it can be hot down there. Oh, sorry, Joni. She says she has a sick cat that she's watching today. Oh, Ola Joe, thank you. You are amazing, my friend. Goodness gracious. So that brings us up to, I'm going to round that up to $40. Thank you so much. So we're on our way to the next parody or song or something. Um, oh, thank you, Judy. Oh, you're so sweet. I love being with you guys. I tell you, we got through the pandemic together. That's where really this. For those of you who didn't know, that's kind of where the longer time started. Is just pandemic. We were all stuck inside, and I was away from my honey during that for months on end. And ugh, I'm so glad that we're out of that. I know we have to be careful, but anyway. Well, let me go ahead. If I missed you, I apologize profusely, but it was not intentional. I do try to, cover as much as I can. I want to read from this by one of my favorite. It's a short little devotional
I read beyond this in the morning, but this is always a great way for me to kind of start the morning and try to settle in. It's by C.H. Spurgeon, or Charles H. Spurgeon. Beside still waters, he was a preacher, pastor in the 19th century, 1800s, and I just I just derive so much encouragement and benefit from this man. And for those of you who may want to even get a copy of this book, they're at Amazon. I have a link in the video description below. So if you wanted to grab a copy, I have given so many copies of this away to people because it's just life for me. But I wanted to read this. Okay, so I wanted I'm looking at the chat here. All right, and this is based on the verses Deuteronomy 33:25, and the title of this reading is He Provides Strength. And this just really blessed me. There is strength promised for you, for as your days, so shall your strength be. That's the Deuteronomy 25 quote. You must not excuse yourself from the battle because you are weak, for the Lord strengthens the feeble. And I should also preface this that this is written in the Christian tradition, so this is for the most part for those who are believers in Jesus, but take it as as you will. I hope it encourages you no matter who you are. And he writes, have you not known, have you not heard, the everlasting God, the Lord, the creator of the ends of the earth, neither faints nor is weary. His understanding is unsearchable. He gives power to the weak, and to those who have no might, he increases strength. For even youths shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall utterly fall. But those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. And you may recognize that from Isaiah 40, verses 28 through 31. You cannot serve him, referring to God, in your strength. You can only serve him in the strength he gives as you need it. Here, take the bread, take the fish, and feed the thousands. Never say that it is not enough. He will multiply both the bread and the fish as it is broken and consumed. There will be more than you need. Listen, you who profess to be in Christ, you who love him, you who have a work to do. God will give you the necessary strength and grace. I need that every day. So thanks for listening. And again, thank you for joining me. Thank you, Hannah, for being there serving us. And I hope to be here next week, guys. God bless. Bye-bye.